What is going on with the Brooklyn Nets? Kevin Durant wants out. Nobody knows what Kyrie wants. And as an organization, it's just a giant mess hole right now. They look like they're trying to compete, but at the same time, if Kevin Durant's not there, can they really compete? Let's dive into it. First thing you got to talk about is the Brooklyn Nets have two A-plus caliber superstars in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. It's a bit more complicated with Kyrie because nobody is exactly sure where his head is. His heart's in the right place, but as a basketball perspective, you don't know when and where he's going to play. So the first thing to talk about, quicker thing, is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, rumors have come out that he said that the Nets were going to lose even before they officially lost to the Boston Celtics. And when you're a player of his caliber and his skill, you shouldn't really be saying these sorts of things. I mean, it's like LeBron going out and saying, hey, we're going to lose. If you're LeBron's level, which a lot of people want to make the argument that Kevin Durant is on LeBron's level at this point of their careers, you can't go around saying that I don't think we're going to win this playoff series, especially when you have another superstar on your team and a pretty decent bench going all the way down. But Kevin Durant said that. Now he's also requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, which is a giant red flag, obviously, for anybody. He's on a 4-year contract, so he's locked in. He's pretty valuable. Now, the thing is, the Nets have made his price tag way too high for anybody to trade for. But before we jump into Kevin Durant again, let's just dive quickly over to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, this year played half the games because of the COVID mandate and his beliefs on all that. So it's a bit hard to say if Kyrie Irving will, can play a full season next year. Nobody's 100% sure. And then also he's a bit upset at the Nets for not giving him a longer contract, which he wanted to discuss with them this offseason. But now he's also kind of semi-requested a trade now that Kevin Durant's going to leave. But at the same time, he said he'll commit to the Nets for this year. I think Kyrie wants to go back, play with LeBron, play with the Lakers, but I just don't see that going through because nobody really wants Russell Westbrook. So with Kyrie kind of saying, hey, I want out, but I'll play this year, he's kind of on the trade market, but because he's made it clear that he wants out, his value is completely just diminished and nobody really wants to take the chance with him. And that's a giant red flag if you're the Nets, because at this point you have one really tradable guy in Kevin Durant, and then you also have Ben Simmons, who is another mess hole himself, who, let's dive really quick into Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is really interesting because when he does play, and he plays with his heart, I think he's a top point guard in this league, easily top 5. His height, he's got the height of Magic, he's got the passing skills. The thing is, I just don't think he's aggressive enough when it comes to scoring and shooting the basketball. No, he's not a great shooter right now, but if he keeps putting that ball up and keeps shooting it, he will eventually become a respectable shooter, hopefully. But the thing is, his heart's not in the right place. He doesn't have the drive that a lot of players have to play the game of basketball. He missed all last season, injuries and sitting out and mental issues. You kind of feel for him on some of it, but at the same time, it's like, all right, when are you going to come back and play? And it's really upsetting to see because he has so much talent, he just doesn't have the drive. I honestly believe he's the same way as Anthony Davis, and I love Anthony Davis. He's the best defensive player in the league when he's healthy and plays with his heart, but he doesn't take enough care of his body and doesn't have the drive to, want to improve himself as much as others. You heard about the thing where he didn't dribble a basketball since April, and Ben Simmons is the exact same way. Ben Simmons is, he doesn't want to play. He just wants to get paid. He makes 2 trips out of his house every month, and both of them are just to the bank to collect his paycheck. And it's upsetting because I honestly believe that Ben Simmons has the talent, more talent than most players in this league. He just doesn't have the drive. And you'll hear me say that again and again. I already made a YouTube video explaining the downfall of Ben Simmons. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. I'll leave the link in the description. So diving back into Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, like I've been saying, is a top player in this league. He's the best pure scorer in this league. Nobody can stop him. Just the issue is, what is his plan? He's a bit upset because he's been called, a bus rider, not a bus driver, by Charles Barkley and all that because of his thing where he left the Oklahoma City Thunder to go join the Golden State Warriors to compete, win some champions, which I think is the weakest move in NBA history. He did it right, at least didn't demand a trade to get traded there and all that. He finished and he signed with them, which I thought was really weak, but it's his decision at the end of the day, so I can't hate on him too much for it. He joins them, wins some championships, and I believe he is the reason why they beat LeBron. I don't think without him they beat LeBron again, but hey, congrats to him. They won 2 rings with him. He leaves, goes to the Nets, and now that he hasn't won a championship with the Nets, and they've had a pretty damn good roster and been favorites to win the championship in the years he's played there, hasn't won a ring, and then requests a trade, And the two teams that he requested, for his favorites, the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat, are top teams in each conference, which makes you go, why is he leaving a team that he went to go build to go join a team that's already top of the rankings, and everybody's prepared for him to make another weak move? The only issue is, because of his contract, he's got 4 years left on it. He can't do what he did after OKC and just walk and sign with them. They don't get gutted for him, and he gets to go play for a new team and compete for a championship. Now, the Brooklyn Nets have made it to where, okay, well, if we send you those teams, we're gutting them. They're not going to be a top team in that conference like they were last year, because we're going to take their good players back. They want Bam Adebayo. They didn't even want the DeAndre Ayton. They wanted Devin Booker. So they're going to gut the teams that he goes to, and he knows that. The Nets know that, and that's why there's just been a giant standstill on the trades. They're not entirely sure what is the best move for them. Obviously as an organization, you got to get back the most you can for a player of Kevin Durant's caliber. But if you're Kevin Durant, you want to go to a team that's not completely gutted so you can compete for a championship, because Kevin Durant doesn't like building teams up from the ground floor. It's upsetting because they had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant on the same team and didn't win a championship. It makes you think, all right, the thing is, Kevin Durant, he's not a leader. He's a leader by example, a bit like Kawhi, but Kawhi is an even better leader than he is. Kevin Durant lets other people take the leadership role if they talk more. Kawhi, he's the leader of the team by far, but he doesn't do the talking. Kevin Durant will give up that, main leadership role to somebody. Kyrie Irving, I love Kyrie. He's a vocal guy, does great for the community, but at the same time, he's not at the level where he can be a leader of a championship caliber team. We saw he couldn't do it in Boston, who had a good team around him. Obviously, they were a bit younger, but it was still a good, solid team. But Kyrie's not the best leader in the world. He's better as a number two. He can still be a vocal guy, motivate your team, but you need a more dominant leader in the locker room, like it worked with LeBron. Kevin Durant likes to pass up on those opportunities and give them away. He'll go out and he'll ball his ass off, but he won't lead a team himself, and that's why Kevin Durant fits so well in Golden State. The leaders there were Draymond and Curry. You could even make the argument for Clay. Kevin Durant just went in there, did his work, and went home. Now, in Brooklyn, I don't think he likes it because he has to do a bit more than just play basketball. He's got to go lead, talk, motivate everybody, and it just hasn't worked so far. They've had a good team. I can't stress that enough, how dominant of a team on paper they should have been. But things happen in this league, and Kevin Durant wants out. The thing is, like I've been saying, where is he going to go? So if he doesn't go to one of those two teams, the Heat or the Phoenix Suns, where will he go? I'm not entirely sure. There's been some teams making noise out of nowhere, like the Boston Celtics made noise that they Jaylen Brown and all that. But the thing is, they're going to have to trade Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, who just won Defensive Player of the Year, and I believe is incredibly undervalued by most basketball fans. They also want to get so many more things. They want Green, and it's like, all right, well, at that point, the Boston Celtics aren't the Boston Celtics. It'll just be Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant running it, and I'm not sure if they can win a championship just them two. They also want Robert Williams, the Time Lord. You don't want to give up that. He's incredibly undervalued as well on the defensive side of things. You need him to hold the paint down. So they would be completely gutted. They try to make an offer to the Minnesota Vikings. Not Minnesota Vikings, excuse me, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And again, completely gutted the team if they accepted that. And it's like, all right, well, we don't want to. We like Kevin Durant. We don't like him, our whole team bad. We don't want to end up like the Los Angeles Lakers, where we have 2 picks for the next 10 years. So that's just been the giant issue, the giant standstill. I personally believe that Kevin Durant will end up playing for the Brooklyn Nets next year. I think the only way he's going to get traded is if either A, he just completely refuses to play for the Brooklyn Nets and his stock just goes down, 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 and it still won't even go down that much because people will understand what he's doing. I mean, it's not going to be a James Harden situation where he gets traded for a bag of chips at some point. That just won't happen. Now, the only other way I see it is if a team that wants to compete starts struggling early on, and they say, screw it, let's get Kevin Durant in here. He could maybe save us, trade everybody for him. That's the only 2 possible scenarios where I see him getting traded. And even with the first scenario, with him just purposely playing bad, I'm not sure how likely it is that he would get traded. Now, I love Kevin Durant. I pray that maybe he reconsiders and decides to try and build this team here in Brooklyn, because he is a baller. He's a hooper. He needs to prove it to everybody, prove to the people that don't believe in him that, hey, he can lead a championship team to the glory land. And I believe if he stays in Brooklyn and wins a championship with whoever, he's done it. Now, the only other place that he could get traded to, and I'd go, all right, if he wins a championship, that would be respectable, is the Portland Trail Blazers. Him and Damian Lillard teamed up. I just really want to see Dame win a ring. And then him and Dame could say they won the ring together there first. They don't have a giant overstaffed team. It would be a fun thing to watch. That's the only team I'd really like to see him get traded to. Because as a Laker fan, I don't want to be seeing Kevin Durant that much in the playoffs. But if he goes to the Portland Trail Blazers, I think that'd be a fun matchup to watch, fun game. But Kevin Durant getting traded, not too sure how likely that is, but rooting for him, rooting for the Nets to make the right decision. But that's all I'm going to say for Kevin Durant. Kyrie, hope he plays. I'm not sure what's really going on with him. I believe that if Kevin Durant stays, even then, I think next year Kyrie will leave just because the Nets won't offer him the contract that he wants, and I believe there are other teams that will take the chance on him. But if that happens, the Brooklyn Nets will have a wide open gap to sign another free agent to come play with Kevin Durant, and there will be people that say, hey, I will come play with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is that type of guy. I mean, he already got James Harden in here last year. He'll bring somebody else in 100%, and that'd be a really fun thing to watch. But that's all I really have to say on this issue. I just want to thank everybody. Our Russell Westbrook video hit 1.5K, and I can't stand, you guys. No, not that I can't stand. I'm so ecstatic about that, and I've really just enjoyed it. I want to thank all of you guys for making this possible, and I love you guys all. This has been it for Mamba's Legacy for today. More videos up this week, and I really hope you guys have a blessed day. Enjoy yourself. Leave a comment down below your thoughts on the situation, and enjoy your day. Take care.